I really thought I dodged the bullet of having to make a video about this wretched fucking trailer for the Ghostbusters remake, but apparently my participation in this discussion is not really optional. You see, the top story on Reddit yesterday was this: Ghostbusters remake is the most disliked trailer of all time on YouTube. Wow, the most disliked trailer of all time on YouTube. All right. Not only by a little bit either. The hatred towards this film is actually quite phenomenal. Staggeringly, it has 500,000 thumbs down. Now, the article that Reddit linked to offers its reasonable explanation for the trailer's negative reaction, and it's a predictive mantra you've probably heard a few times before in defense of this, frankly, indefensible trailer.
There's a lot of hatred directed towards the new trailer, primarily because it stars 4 women, though the haters would have you believe misogyny is not the real driving force behind their invective, and seemingly not at all connected to its quality. Quickly, the misogyny began to overwhelm the comments under the Ghostbusters trailer, and Sony Pictures was forced to delete many offensive remarks. Though it doesn't take long even now to find comments like, "When are people going to learn that women aren't funny?" and "Ghostbusters, Fat Dyke Edition." The dislikes eventually got to the point where it became a game among those who hate the movie and frequently return to watch the numbers grow. When one fan commented, "We made it to 500,000 dislikes," another followed up with an enthusiastic, "Let's get it to 1 million."
Ghostbusters Fat Dyke Edition. I'm sorry, but that's pretty funny. And it's not funny because it's sexist. It's funny because it just draws attention to what a hack job this movie really is. First, you take a movie that literally no one wants to see remade. A fucking movie that if you're in your late 20s or anywhere in your 30s or maybe your early 40s even, you probably considered Ghostbusters, the original, to be a film fucking classic. So let's take that and remake it. I mean, that alone is infuriating. I mean, this isn't a remake of some movie that came out a fucking lifetime ago, like 3:10 to Yuma. This isn't a remake of something that no one gives a shit about anymore, like Point Break. This isn't a remake of fucking Batman or Superman or some other character that's already had a million different film versions. This is a remake of fucking Ghostbusters. What is the purpose? The original film is already pretty much perfect, at least in the minds of the fans of the fucking series. And if you're not making it for them, who the fuck are you making it for? Imagine if they remade Back to the Future, or E.T., or The Breakfast Club, or The Goonies, or Beetlejuice, or The Blues Brothers, or any other major 80s film classic. Fans of those films, many of whom are only in their 20s and 30s, would immediately be skeptical of the productions and inclined to detest them. Now, the most iconic 80s movie that has been directly remade up until now has probably been 2010's The Karate Kid, starring Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. Now, this movie didn't have nearly the trailer backlash that Ghostbusters is having, but even though I don't think Karate Kid from 2010 has a good trailer, it's at least a competent one. You don't look at it and immediately be like, "Oh my fucking God, this is horrid and I want to fucking puke into my hat." Plus, it looks like it's clearly intended for kids. And I know a lot of people didn't like the final product, but I actually thought it was surprisingly decent. It wasn't a masterpiece. It's never going to hold the same place in anyone's heart that the original did, but it was watchable. It was reasonable in terms of being a quality film. The Ghostbusters trailer, on the other hand, is wretched beyond reason. I almost don't even need to go into the reasons why, but just in case you're someone who hasn't seen it, I'll break it down like this. First of all, none, and I mean fucking none, of the jokes featured in the trailer are even the slightest little bit funny. This movie is supposed to be a comedy, right? Well, maybe there are some funny jokes in the movie. I mean, we haven't seen the whole thing. It's certainly possible that there's some funny jokes in the movie, but if there are funny jokes in the movie, why did they decide not to use any of them in the fucking trailer? I have been to theaters, and this is just a little FYI. I've been to theaters where some people have laughed at this one particular joke, which I'm about to play, and I'm sorry, I'm going to play it.
Get out of my friend, Ghost!
Ow, that's gonna leave a mark.
The power of panic compels you!
I mean, I'm reluctant to even call that a joke, honestly, since I'm not really sure what the humor is beyond just the absolute laziest form of slapstick possible. But I have seen some people laugh at it, so I guess that this form of humor works for some people. I don't really understand how, since the Three Stooges did this shit about 10 times better back in the 30s and 40s.
I was for onesies.
Well, here's twosies.
He was for onesies? You get him to...
Here's fivesies.
Another thing is the ghosts. They look fucking terrible. Remember that scene in Ghostbusters where Ray, Egon, and Peter confront the ghosts in the library? Well, the new movie decided, fuck doing anything original. We'll just do that scene again. But this time, we're going to make a few changes. There's going to be vaginas, and there's going to be puke. That's this movie's idea of originality. Change the genitalia of the characters and add some ghost puke. But anyway, just look at these two effects side by side. One of the effects is the library ghost from the 1984 movie. The other is the library ghost from the 2016 movie. You notice how the one from 1984 still holds up as a good effect, even to this day? I mean, certainly, it doesn't look like a 2016 effect. I'm not saying, it holds up just as well as it did in 84, but it holds up. I mean, certainly there are effects from other movies in 1984 that have not aged nearly as well. Now, this effect from 2016, it doesn't even hold up to the standards of now. In an age where computers can fairly convincingly give life to almost anything the human mind can imagine, these effects look hokey and cartoonish. They harken back to the effects of, like, the Scooby-Doo movie and shit. That was total fucking ass, and not ass in a good way, ass in a bad way. You don't need to conjure up misogyny to explain why people don't like it when you take a beloved and iconic film that no one wanted to see remade and saddle it with A, rehashed scenes, B, terrible special effects, C, weak humor, D, a blatant and contrived girl power message, and E, subtle racism. Yeah, we didn't even touch upon the racism. The three white Ghostbusters are all scientists. The one black Ghostbuster is a New York City subway worker.
Holtzman, you're a brilliant engineer. Aaron, no one's better at quantum physics than you. We can provide a real service.
I'm joining the club. You guys are really smart about this science stuff, but I know New York.
I get it. That's how it was in the 1984 version, too. But isn't this supposed to be a more progressive Ghostbusters? Isn't the whole reason that they're all chicks now so that Sony and Paul Feig or Feig or Fag or however the fuck his name is pronounced can pat himself on the fucking back for how open-minded and forward-thinking he is and how open-minded and forward-thinking Sony is? Yet the black chick is still gonna be the sassy, stupid one? Real nice, guys. Real fucking nice. Look. Am I going to say that misogyny plays no part whatsoever in the backlash against this movie? No. There are definitely some morons out there who hate this movie because there's women in it. But if those guys were anywhere near the majority, then where was the massive storm of thumbs down for the Force Awakens trailer? Star Wars is a far more iconic franchise even than Ghostbusters. And it had a female lead for the first time ever. No one was outraged. There was no giant backlash. The trailer wasn't inundated with people downrating it. And even when Star Wars yet again chose a female protagonist for their little spin-off movie Rogue One, The misogynists of the internet haven't struck out and drowned the trailer in thumbs down? Now, granted, I have heard some people claim that Rey is a Mary Sue. I have heard some people complain that the protagonist from Rogue One is a girl. Fine. There are some assholes out there who genuinely are at least a little sexist. But neither The Force Awakens nor Rogue One have had anything even vaguely approaching the backlash that Ghostbusters has gotten. The Ghostbusters trailer. And do you know why? Because the trailers for The Force Awakens and Rogue One didn't look like fucking dog shit. The special effects are good. The dialogue that they chose to show in the trailer was decent, at least tolerable. The scenes they chose to share with us ranged from competent to solid. Pretty much no one looked at these trailers for The Force Awakens or Rogue One and said, wow, this looks like complete and utter absolute dog shit. So let's just be 100% real here. The Ghostbusters trailer would be just as hated if there were men in the lead roles. In fact, it might even be more hated, because not only would Ghostbusters fans detest it, but feminists would feel no great need to defend it or to pretend ridiculously that it looks good. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And don't worry, got a big video coming for you guys tomorrow or the next day. This is just kind of a little placeholder video. And there will be some new Abandoned Hope probably within the next few days as well. So see you guys then with that. Like I said, let me know what you think of my opinion on this fucking shitty trailer.